What's up, guys? Welcome into the Packers Total Access postgame show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We may have Tim joining us here momentarily as the Packers currently trail 20-2 in the fourth quarter to the Denver Broncos. So, Jacob, you got it on in the background back there. I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not, big dog. That'd be a hell of a way to get it banned, wouldn't it?
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, you don't. So let's do this. Before we get started, let's give a quick shout out to Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live, Wisconsin-based since '92. Specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Just click on the link in the video description. That'll send you to theticketking.com where you can register for free as a customer. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that is Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. So first things first, Jacob, as we start to dive into this, looks like we just got a sack there. Denver ball, 11 minutes left. Again, Packers trailing 20-2.
So you're watching it and I can't watch it?
If you can watch it without it being on the screen and get us demonetized, yeah, that'd be great. I mean, you can.
Darn it. All right.
Hey, kill your camera. Just kill your camera. Do it that way. Yeah. Yeah, just kill your camera.
Okay. All right. But then, all right, yeah. Then we don't make the money off the advertising. You know what I mean? You know, just
there you go. All right. So, first things first, some people were going, how did you get to 20-2? What in the heck is going on out here? Well, here are a list of the inactives today that they decided to just rest. Quay Walker, Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, Eric Stokes, Jair Alexander, Keyshawn Nixon, A.J. Dillon, Xavier McKinney, Marshawn Lloyd, Jarvion Howard, Carrington Valentine, Zach Tom, and Keyshawn Banks. I believe that's all of them. Yeah. So, obviously, the Packers took a little bit different approach tonight, wanting to kind of rest everyone. And they get their work in at the joint practice like LaFleur had talked about. So, Jacob, initial thoughts, man. I know it's ugly out there, but, I mean, you gotta really put this into perspective with who was on the field against the Denver Broncos number ones as well.
Look, here's the thing. Yeah, that's this is actually – I know that it sounds really crazy to think that when you look at a score that's 20-2, that somehow that's a victory. Guys, look at the list. Look at the laundry list of anybody that would ever make an impact in this game. What is that, 20 some odd players? And even such with that list the way it is, for the first, I don't know. I mean, we were in this game completely. There was only a few random mishaps here and there where boneheaded plays, missed tackles, maybe not doing the best coverage and that kind of stuff. But honestly, I can't be mad at the fact they had their ones in with 6 minutes left in the second quarter, guys.
Right.
Like all their ones. I'm talking their receivers, their linemen, their defense, everything. And with that all being said, you know, I don't like it. If you look at our stat lines, our box score, it's horrible. I mean, it makes me want to cringe and go to bed. I mean, here we are talking all this smack today about how we're so confident in this and that. Well, who's basically our best receiver tonight was Samori Toure. You know,
it's still early though, Jake. It's early.
I will say this though, in this few flashes that I did see, I think we need to highlight that Ben Sims, I think Tyler Davis and Joe Wilson all showed that they can play the tight end position. I think that Tyron Hopper out there, he had 11 as of right now, 11 tackles. And granted, he's been here and there, kind of missing some here and there. Eric Wilson, I thought, showed really well. Christian Welch, again, had the flash play and I believe an interception, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. And a tackle for a loss.
And a tackle for a loss. And Katan Oladapo's been out there. Haven't seen him do much other than jump on the pile. But there are a few things. I saw, you know, Jacob Monk at center. That wasn't a great start, obviously, when they fumbled the initial snap. And I won't lie, it looked like Clifford was bobbling it multiple times when he was taking that snap. So that's a little, whatever. But and then again, real quick, Raylan Goforth, for the second game in a row, he quietly has the second or third most tackles on this team. I don't know what to
he's-
think about that.
He's kind of in my doghouse, to be honest with you, man. I believe it was, I don't want to misquote here, but I believe it was Raylan Goforth, that got truck sticked by Jared Stidham into the end zone, and Jared Stidham gave him a concussion.
Jeez.
I was like, please tell me that was a safety. Please tell me that was a safety. When I seen it was a backer, I was like, oh, no. That's a bad look. But nonetheless, again, though, you're right. He is always around the ball. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I'm just more surprised at where they're playing him. They're playing him as if he's right there with guys like Eric Wilson and McDuffie as far as snaps. You know what I'm saying?
Let's he's getting. Go ahead.
No, he's getting snaps with the like twos, which is I didn't see that. I don't see that in practice, so I'm surprised he's the only player that I've seen jump up and randomly playing with the twos that I never heard that happening in practice.
Mm-hmm. Let's kind of jump into some of the headlines that came across Twitter as the game got started. Here was the starting offensive line. Dillard at left tackle, so we got that right. Newman at left guard, Ryan at center, Monk at right guard, and Telford at right tackle. Okay, so that was your starting offensive line. So it's easy to pile on Clifford. And listen, Clifford looked horrible tonight. There's no two ways about it. But that's a rough offensive line there too. And they were blitzing. I don't know if you noticed, Jacob, but they were throwing some exotic blitzes out there, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But I'm glad they did it, and I'm sure that LaFleur was glad they did it too, because it gave them a lot of good looks, like he had mentioned as they went into halftime. So now you were mentioning the linebacker position. It was Hopper and Wilson that started at inside linebacker. So that kind of tells you that, okay, that's your second team inside linebackers, right? So as far as just information overall, if Hopper and Wilson are the basically the Will Backer and the Mike Backer backups, then what does that tell you when you look at the roster here now? Okay, you've got Eric Wilson and Quay Walker is who they've got listed here on the depth chart, okay, and Isaiah McDuffie. Obviously, McDuffie didn't play. The fact that Wilson played tells me McDuffie is ahead of him, most likely, on the depth chart, okay? And then you got Tyron Hopper next. Obviously, Ezra and Cooper is hurt, so it kind of feels like it is Quay Walker, Eric Wilson, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, then everyone else, and, of course, Ezra and Cooper injured right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Just wanted to mention that's who started there. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I just was going to say that I didn't realize, I guess, that there was such a mix-up maybe there at linebacker, because I just didn't expect to see Hopper just jump in. So Cooper did not play. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, he's still banged up, I believe.
So I think maybe we read into a lot more of who didn't play tonight as one of those kind of things. Like, I was really surprised. Were you that Dylan didn't play? They didn't even.
Right. That was the big one, Jacob, for me.
Like, what, dude?
They're basically saying, no, Dylan's our number 2 back. That's what they're saying.
And then also, so they didn't want to let Cooper play, right? He didn't play, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So I don't know what to think, dude. Oh, and by the way, can I just say one thing? The Denver, through and through, their announcing crew, like their graphics, that was booty cheeks, dude. It was dark, so bad. They didn't not only get, when they put their graphics up, they had the players, their positions wrong. They had their numbers wrong. They had Clifford at number 15. They had the highlighted spot players of the game or whatever was Ford on the defense as our D tackle, and it was Brenton Cox. And then I believe it was just 3 players where you're like, if you know anything about our defense, that's not who the spotlight is. Like, they didn't even try. They didn't even try to go. They couldn't pronounce our names. They had the graphic. Even at one point, they had it a clear, like 3rd and 7 was listed on the field as a 3rd and 1. They even had the yellow line there. Like, everybody was playing preseason football in Denver today. They were not like the announcers were so bad. I mean, they were just not good, man. They were so over the line. It makes me really appreciate how good, like, when you have to listen, not have to, when you are privileged to listen to Wayne Larrivee or even Rock. Like, Rock's maybe our guy that's a little bit, if you don't know his style, you're probably like, oh, this guy's what's he talking about? But even that, it's like endearing, it's charming. These guys were just, ugh, it was garbage.
Yeah, they had, was it Steve Levy, who's been with ESPN forever. I don't know if he's still there with the way they've been doing cuts, but yeah, it reminded me of the Cleveland broadcast last week, man. It was just, and it was very, very much so like, listen, I'm all about homerism. I love it. I love it when you got homer announcers, especially for the Packers. Theirs are like annoying. It was just like, they were over the top on everything. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know, but kind of feels like when we've got, John Kuhn and the crew calling the game. Was it Kenny Albert? Is that who it is? Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
They seem to know football. These guys were just, let's brag on Denver every chance we get, and whether it's warranted or not. But you're going to get that, I guess. Like you said, it's preseason for everybody. Another interesting note, Wes Hawkowitz said the Packers start in nickel with Bullard in the slot and Anthony Johnson Jr. alongside Evan Williams at safety. So there you go. That would suggest, Jacob, that Javon Bullard is the backup slot defender, and Evan Williams and Anthony Johnson Jr. are right behind Xavier McKinney as far as the safety position goes. The only thing that's a little bit convoluted there, well, I guess Williams is probably, if Bullard will be your starting safety, okay, in your base. Everything that we said this whole time, it kind of holds true. Does that make sense? Like it feels like Evan Williams is a little bit ahead of Anthony Johnson Jr., and that's a good thing because they've got AJJ playing free safety or on the right side, and that's where Xavier McKinney was. So it kind of feels like we hit that one when talking about it in the past. We were wondering, would Kalen King be the backup nickel? Would Corey Ballantyne? It looks like they are very, very serious about Javon Bullard being the backup nickel there, at least based off of that tonight. And again, he wasn't in very long at all because then King came in. It's Wes Hawkowitz tweeted out, looks like Bullard is done. Kalen King is in the slot, is the slot in the nickel at that point. So it sounds like it goes Keyshawn Nixon, Javon Bullard, Kalen King as far as that nickel slot corner, okay? And then Javon Bullard in the base will be your strong safety. So what do you think about that? Pretty much on par with what we were expecting, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I do also think that it's telling the fact that I remember seeing Bullard I don't remember where he was started, whether or not he was in the slot or if he was in the safety position, but he did come up and made a really good diving tackle play. I'd call it a meat missile play. That's just how I do it. But it was one of those things where he was very aggressive, shot the gap, got the guy down. It was another kind of shoestrings type of tackle, and he seemed very aggressive. I saw Williams also on the field, but I didn't remember seeing them for more than maybe a series or two. So that should be, I think, indicative of the fact that like they really thought, I really do think that one of those guys is going to be opposite of McKinney, and the other one, like we just talked about, is going to be that slot / tweener. And depending on how the season progresses, I could see any one of those two. I think Evan Williams is the truth, man. I really do. I just think that he is really good, and I really do think that Bullard he might be better than Williams because he's multi-versatile, where I think you could plug and play him in different positions. I think Bullard's so good, you could play him at like outside boundary corner or something crazy like that. I really do. He seems like he's that good at just being a football player. But I thought that in general, the team obviously played like, if you look at it on paper, it looks like booty cheeks, but really think about this. We had our 2s and 3s. We had no ones, like literally no ones, literally no ones playing against their pretty much starting squad until about 6 minutes into the second quarter. And they got, at that point, it was like 10-0, I think 17-0 tops maybe. So, and I don't know, man. It felt like we did not, it made me mad. If I would have left my mic on, yeah, it would have been bad. It would have been good. We would have lost some followers, maybe picked up some others in certain regions, not good ones. but
you said pick up some others or mothers?
Some others, maybe some others though, depending on
All right, I was just
You
checking.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no,
Somewhere
I
Justin
also,
just laughed. Justin's listening to the pod right now,
yeah, he
Monday
is.
morning, and he just laughed. Go ahead.
I saw Ola Home Depot out there today, and I honestly was very unimpressed. He looked like he was chasing a tackle. He was the guy that was jumping on the pile. I never saw him make a play. I never saw him be explosive, and that's to be expected. We always talk about you can't make the club in the tub.
Look
And
right here, right on time. David Colvin says, "Hey, Ola Home Depot can open field tackle." He just made a tackle right as you said that, Jake.
did I?
So,
Good.
yeah, 5 minutes left, 3rd and goal for Zach Wilson and the Broncos as they're driving. They busted coverage. There was someone running butt naked through the trailer park down the seam just a second ago. So let's see, he got pressure in his face. It was a screen, man. That was another touchdown, Broncos.
They just scored a touchdown.
The big thing that I noticed, listen, it's early, very vanilla defense, but you could see the one gap effect. Now, starters will play it much better. There's a couple screen passes tonight. Everybody they were focused on that one gap, get upfield. Oh, hark, they're running a screen pass. Again, there's pros and cons to each of the defenses, the one we just watched the last 3 years and the one that we're stepping into. There's pros and cons in both. It's how well can they coach them up and get them to execute. That's going to be the big thing. Now, again, it's not a good look when you're losing 27-2 in the preseason, right? But for me, let's get this out of the way. I hope Matt LaFleur absolutely chews their ass. I hope he gets it because the reality is this is your depth. We're supposed to be a deep team, right? And this didn't look like a deep team tonight. I'm with you, Jacob, on the starters not playing. I really am. The positives for me, though, Brenton Cox Jr., I thought looked good. I think he's pretty much locked up that number 5 defensive end. The other thing, too, Tyron Hopper looks like he can play ball. I think that was very positive. And, again, we didn't get to see the starters any at all, really. And really some of the 1B guys you didn't even get to see very, very long, like Javon
That's what's
Fuller.
weird. I don't honestly do. What do you think about that decision?
What's that?
I said, what do you think about that decision? Just to not see basically any of your 1B guys, any of your 2A guys, really.
Me personally, man, I'm old school. I love the old days where it was the first game of the preseason. This is back when you have 4 preseason games. First game, play your starters a quarter. Second game, play your starters a quarter. Third game, play them a full half and 1 series into the 3rd quarter, and then don't play them the 4th quarter and let your camp battles take place. That's the way I like. Now, with 3 games, it would be the equivalent to, play your starters a quarter in the first game. Second game, have them play a half plus a drive, and then sit them the 3rd. I don't like it, man. I just don't. And again, I understand. I completely understand with where LaFleur's coming from. And here's the thing that you've always got to mention too, Jake. If they did that and somebody got hurt, we would all be going, "What the hell? Why are they playing these guys?" Right? It just goes without saying, but right. It is what it is, man. So let's do this. Let's see. There's something else I wanted to hit on here real quick. If you want to try to start marking chats, if you guys want to fire questions, comments, all that good stuff. The other thing I wanted to hit on, Travis Glover came in at right tackle after the quote-unquote starters came off the field tonight. So it looked like it was, again, was it Telford? Was that who it was?
I believe
yeah, so Telford at right tackle seems to be the backup right tackle behind Tom. And then after him, it seems to be Travis Glover. So that was kind of interesting. That caught me off guard a little bit. And again, it may not mean anything, but at the same time, I don't know. It's worth noting, I guess. So let's see. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, this is one that I highlighted earlier, and it did make a lot of sense because Eric Southern was talking about Melton is falling behind. Backup O-line stinks. Hopper looks king, not so good, and Clifford and Pratt didn't help themselves. Basically, the whole thing with Melton, though, is my point of that comment was that, like, Melton, again, seemingly looked like he's having a struggling type of day, but I don't know, man. It just, I'm not going to blame the coaches for not putting them in positions, but I sent you guys a text in the group chat. You guys know I'm a crazy psycho. So as it's going like the first 3 or 4 drives, I'm sending up like text messages to these guys. I've learned that they don't respond, so I just send them out anyways. I'm basically the Omer of our group chat. I just start sending out some messages, and I don't care if anybody reads them. I just need to say some stuff. And a lot of them was just kind of saying, like, I don't feel like the coaches are giving these guys any chance to highlight what or not they can do for the team. Like, we're running up the gut on 3rd and long. Like, we're running, simple like basic stuff. And I understand that we don't want to show our cards in preseason and all that kind of stuff, but at the same type of conversation, how do you dictate whether or not your guys can do certain stuff in situations if you don't test it? I just feel like the Packers have been way too vanilla to the point where it's going to hurt certain guys on the bubble that could make the team if they could show what they could do in certain situations.
I was just about to mention Grant DeBosa's 2 drops, and I look over on the screen. He made an awesome punt team tackle. So
did he?
Yeah, but we can just about begin to run through the stats here because Denver has the ball back, and there's let's see, there's only like 4 minutes left in the game. So as it sits right now, go ahead, Jake. What you got?
Justin you guys remember Justin from the fantasy podcast, who also helps us with a ton of stuff at the network. He just sent a really great text to both of us, Clay. He said that missed kick may have been the most impactful or most important thing that happened in all of the game. That's 100% true.
He missed that thing way right.
Bad.
That thing landed over there in Lake Tahoe somewhere, man. And that's probably not even close to the Rockies. But, yeah, so that's something that stood out. Grant DeBose with the 2 drops, that's going to hurt him. To me.
And Malik Heath, good.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's look at it here. Malik Heath, 6 targets, 3 catches, 22 yards. He led the team, but that's like being the smartest kid in Harlan County, Kentucky. You know what I mean? Not a very good accolade there. Samori Toure, 2 targets, 2 catches, 17 yards. Emmanuel Wilson, 2 targets, 1 catch, 11 yards. Ben Sims, 1 target, 1 catch, 10 yards. Bo Melton, 3 targets, 2 catches, 10 yards. I'm telling you, man, the Grant DeBose drops hurts. That hurts.
Yeah. Bad. Do you agree with me that I feel like the only person that maybe helped themselves drastically today, Emmanuel Wilson, every time he got the ball, I was like, oh, he's only going to get a yard, and he'd fall forward for 3. Or I'd see him run for 7, and I'd be like, oh, he's got 7, and then he'd fall forward for an 11. Or I thought he'd be behind the line, he'd fall forward for 2. Like, that's
the blocking was horrible.
Bad.
I know this should never happen, but it does feel like Emmanuel Wilson can get those tough yards better than A.J. Dillon. Like, and that, I'm not excited to say that. It sucks. It sucks. But I know what you're saying. I mean, 13 carries for 41 yards. Those aren't great numbers, but you're right, man. It was never once did you feel like, oh, bad decision there. It was always getting hit in the backfield and falling forward.
Here's the thing is, look at that rushing total. 13 on 41. Yeah, that's not great. But look at the others. 8 for 18, 1 for 11. Yeah, Sean. And Cliff, literally the other good ones are our quarterbacks. Otherwise, everybody else couldn't even scrape up peanuts off the ground, man.
It's just a little over 2 yards a carry for Merriweather, for sure. Yeah. So 3:12 left, 2nd and 6 for the Broncos. They're up 27-2. They're probably going to work on a little 2-minute drill here. Don't get mad if they try to run up the score here. I think it's an awesome opportunity for whatever defensive players are in there. If they do want to put a 2-minute drill together, let's see what we can do here and get a little something on tape. They're just running the rock. It looks like they're right through the middle. But that one gap, man's got me worried. Again, it's preseason. I've got to tell myself to calm down. We'll see how it goes as we move forward. But I know there was a lot of tweets in Twitter. Did you see the one with Scooby-Doo, Jacob?
Yes.
Where they showed Jeff Halfley and they pulled the mask off and it was Joe Barry.
that pisses me off because it's like, dude, I'm sorry. And the same, I saw a couple of people that I even respect. They're like, this is our offense right now. It's like, dude, that's not the point of what we're doing right here. But I will say there's a fine line between just being like 22 ISO on the left on 3. And I feel like that's what people are doing, or that's what the Packers are doing right now. And the critics are asking him to be like, hey man, drop the the freaking annex at Puerto Rico and show it in preseason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle, bro. You can't just be like, I want a quarterback sneak left, or it's hook and lateral on it, somewhere in between. I do think though that like that was my criticism is I don't feel like LaFleur or actually no, it was Stenovich, right? Isn't Stenovich calling the plays?
Yeah, he said he was going to let Steno and maybe some others call plays too. But
I'm pretty sure. Well,
Steno.
This is per Denver an analyst, so take that with a big old grain of salt because these guys just they suck so hard they could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. I'll just say that they were so bad. I'm just saying they were so bad. I'm just
all right. Let's hit the chat. Ron Samble said Hopper looked pretty good. I agree. That was one of the positives for me. We got Tim back in here. We'll see if he can get his mic to work here in a second. So Tyron Hopper led the team with 11 tackles. Again, I think Tyron Hopper looked pretty solid tonight. Excited to see what he does moving forward here. Eric Sutherland says Melton is falling behind. Melton is falling behind. Backup O-line stinks. Hopper looks good. Looks King not so good. I think he was trying to say Hopper looks good.
I read that one earlier. I did the same thing you did. It didn't make sense, but
we've both been drinking, and that's what that is.
No, Eric's been drinking.
Okay, got it. I agree with Kalen King. He looked like he played. He didn't play under control. You know what I mean? He was just constantly missing. There was one play where he missed the tackle twice. That was interesting. I haven't seen that many times in my fandom. But, yeah, I think I agree with everything that Eric said here. And Clifford and Pratt didn't help themselves. Yeah, that's you. Like, if you just said, Clayton, what's the worst thing that could happen in this game outside of injuries? It would be that neither of these quarterbacks take a step forward. That's what happened tonight. So, Tim, got him in here now. Tim, what's your initial thoughts?
Wow, I guess I'm not as negative as everyone else is. Wow. Are we all upset? I mean, it's preseason. The final score doesn't really matter. There were some issues. I'll tell you what, they played disciplined football. I saw about 10,000 penalties on the Broncos and not too many penalties on the Packers. So I don't know why everyone's so upset. I saw some Brenton Cox in some people's faces today. I saw
Cox in your face.
I saw a lot of good things today. So I'm choosing to focus on the positive of this game.
I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm being dead serious. I'm not being sarcastic at all.
I'm looking at 80 yards passing, and I'm going, that's –
yeah. Oh, yeah. Dumpster fire on offense. Yeah. But, shining light is Emmanuel Wilson. Got 10,000 carries like I predicted. And I think all things considered, he looked pretty good today. And I think he made a case for himself. We dogged Samari Toure before the game, and he was probably like one of the few receivers that showed up for us today.
He did way better than Dubose did. I know that.
Yeah. And hey, this is part of what happens when you're building a championship team and you want to make these mistakes and have these kind of these stumbles and dumpster fire of a game type of situations. You want to do this now. We don't want to do this a couple months from now. We want to do this right now. And we had 2s and 3s and 4s against 1s and 2s all day. And it's important that we remember that and realize that this is a part of the process. Evaluation is paramount. Like, this is not about this game, and it's about what we saw from these players. But I will certainly agree, as I jumped in, Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford did not it's basically a wash today, boys and girls. Like, I don't know what we really saw from our two quarterbacks, but there were some bright spots in this game for sure.
Kalen King just came up and brung the lumber on an outside run. That was nice to see. Here we go again. Another outside run. 48 in there to make a tackle. I'm not sure who 48 is right offhand, but great job blowing that up. So they are going to punt here with 1 minute left. Let's see. There were some other comments in here. Texas Badger, pathetic all week from this team. I don't care if it is preseason. Why even make the trip if you're going to half-ass it? Bunch of guys trying out for the practice squad. All right. Appreciate it, buddy. Dalvin Colvin says, yes, Clayton Wilson showed today he get those tough yards. Talking about Emmanuel Wilson, I agree. Another Wilson too. I felt like there were several plays where Eric Wilson in there on the run stop looked good, sticking his head in there, sticking his nose in there, and making a play.
Can we talk about Mr. Welsh today? Also, the linebacker play from 54.
Yeah,
was,
we did. Yep.
I'll tell you what. I want to shake that man's hand and tell him it's fun to watch him play football because that guy's got one gear and it's fifth with pedal to the metal, and it's fun to watch him play and try and make this team. It really is.
So that's going to be your final level. I don't know. Somebody called a timeout. Matt did not look happy. So yeah, Christian Welch, 6 total tackles, 1 for a loss. He also had an interception, right? He got that tipped interception. And who was it that tipped the pass? Do you remember, Jacob? I had it on my notes.
I don't remember who tips it, but that was a great play.
Was it Goforth?
Aaron Mosby.
Oh,
I
Mosby.
was going to say, dude, Mosby also, and who is the guy? Zach Morton? Is that the dude that
Yeah.
had the diving safety?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm
just saying.
This is what I'm talking about. Flashes of positivity in this game when you're evaluating this team, especially from a defensive side of the ball. And the thing with Welsh, after that ball was tipped, he wasn't even looking. You know, he kind of got his head around, and then he saw it, and he just snatched it out of the air. It was a beautiful play. There were some bright spots in this tragic game today. There really were.
Hey, it's Tim. The chat sees you here. CGN says, "Way to go, Tim. The positivity side is beautiful."
It's beautiful.
Let's go.
Look at you.
I know when we got that safety and they said the guy's name, I said,
"Who?"
I didn't even know the guy was on the roster. What was his name again? Who was it?
Mosby.
No, the safety.
No. Zach Morton.
Zach Morton.
Oh, okay. Morton. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Zach
that
Moore,
drop
go
again,
get him.
Clayton. Exactly.
Hey, and honestly though, like we should be a little bit like so Denver, everybody thinks that they're kind of a crappy team, which in many ways they were because of the offensive struggles and all that kind of stuff, but they are stacked at the defensive end. We thought we were stacked. Those guys have an absolute unit at their defensive end. Like they are if you want to call them ends / edge rushers. They have some absolute freaks over there, and they played really good football. That Nick Benito, he's going to be a stud, and we did not have any of our starting line out there, and these guys got basically thrown to a bunch of dogs that are, been going against them for even a practice. They kind of know certain tendencies, that sort of stuff. So I thought that all in all, I mean, I don't remember. Did the quarterbacks get sacked more than once or twice, if that?
You talking about the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah. Like as much as I want to dog on all the, how bad, quote unquote, we did. I don't.
2 sacks.
2? Okay.
One was a strip sack though on Pratt. So.
Right. Yeah.
That one hurt,
Didn't Pratt pick that one up, or one of them picked it up again?
Or did we not lose it? I thought we were. No, it looks like Jonah Ellis recovered it. He's the one who.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So there you go. So yeah, we. I think it was Stanley that just muffed the punt too right toward the end. So that's not going to look good for him as far as special teams contributions. So let's go back to the chat here real quick. Dennis Shook in the chat said, Clayton, didn't you say that if AJ doesn't play much, that he's basically a lock to make the team? Absolutely. And that, to me, that's what it said. They treated him almost like a starter tonight. Like, hey, look, we're not playing our starters. AJ Dillon's a lock. I believe that. I don't think there's any world where, based off of that information right there, where AJ Dillon is not going to make the roster if he's healthy.
Then they better keep 4 running backs.
They will definitely have 3. Even if Marshawn Lloyd is on the injured reserve, I think Emmanuel Wilson will be on the roster. If you're saying that Marshawn Lloyd is healthy week 1, that we carry 4, including Emmanuel Wilson, it would be breaking precedent. That's for sure. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the last time the Packers carried 4 running backs. I know last year they only carried 3. I think the year before they only carried 2. If I remember right.
That's the thing with Lloyd, though, is like it could go either way at this point, right? We're kind of waiting to see what they're going to do with him. So I guess that's kind of the determining factor, right? Is he going to go to IR or is he not?
Yeah. If I had to put money on it right now, Tim, I would say he's probably going to get IR. just
Okay.
because hammies are so weird. It's not like something where, man, you got a bad hammy next week. All right, you're good the rest of the season.
Yeah, especially in a running back. Yeah, for sure.
So we'll keep our eye on that as we move forward. Greg Ross said, I was hoping our second string would be more competitive. It made me sad. I agree with that. I expected them to come out with a little more, I don't know,
gusto.
The piss a little hot, you know?
Yeah.
And, but yeah, that again, Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff is going to have a field day with this tape.
Yeah, the piss was lukewarm. It wasn't hot. It was lukewarm today.
They're going to, it's going to be a great teaching point. There's no doubt about it, man. And Greg Joseph kicking that thing all the way down there into the valley.
I've been telling y'all for a year and a half. Anders Carlson's our dude. I've been saying it forever.
Do you guys think that there's some benefit to the fact that we just went on the road with what probably will be the youngest team for the second year in a row, and we had to go through basically kind of tougher times, especially this last one here. We're going on the road, we're traveling, we're looking at high altitude, we're practicing an unknown type of stuff. We didn't have a great practice. We're not playing our ones. That's a lot of adversity. You know what I'm saying? That's good to get over, like Tim just said about kind of the hiccups. You want to get those done right away. Get those stuff out of the way. And that way, by the time you get to the week one of the actual game time, and dude, we haven't had a home game yet. I mean, we had the Packers night, the family night, but that's not the same. These guys were told explicitly, like, you do not touch this player, that player, this player, basically any player. You don't hit them the same way you would hit anybody that you're going to ever play in any game time situation. So I think that's maybe we have untapped potential, what's the word? Momentum, freaking pizzazz. You know, all that's going to get them catapulted.
Tonight, man.
It made me mad, dude. I got so excited to watch this game, and then I just sat there eventually just looking like, I hate this. And it got me really.
His chat's off the rails too, man. Look at this. Nate Dogg, is it bad if it burns when you piss? Carly Ray, of all people, yes, get tested for syphilis.
Yeah.
If you can take a pill for
whole new meaning to the piss is hot.
Yes. John Schmidt in the chat said, I agree, Tim. Offense was unwatchable, but Hopper looks good. Cox flashed. Don't be flashing Cox. Oladapo had some solid tackles.
Oh, God.
It is so late.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
All right. Over in the chat, Wilson had every chance tonight and did not seize the moment for sure. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bad take.
Wilson. Bad take, Omer. He's eating his eggs right now, too. It's probably morning time over there.
You better take some penicillin for that take because it burns.
You need an espresso. Have an espresso shot.
Nico in the chat said, this is a good starter rest game. I would expect the starters to play a couple quarters in the last preseason game. Before this game, I go, now I'm going, yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we get them just a little bit, a little brush up there? Because this was kind of ugly. Silver Fox in the chat says the announcers made this even harder to watch.
Which announcers are we talking about here?
Dude,
we're talking about Steve. Is it Steve Levy? Is that his name, Tim?
Oh, God, I don't have to deal with that crap. I had Kevin Harlan and I had John Kuhn. So.
Did you really?
Yeah,
that's great, Tim. Congratulations. You live in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Kevin Harlan is so good, man. He's just like.
Oh, yeah. Upper echelon.
These announcers were bad.
I'm just saying.
A former Bronco college.
And this is, what, NFL Network feed? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it was Broncos.
I think it was the Broncos.
Local network coverage.
Oh, yeah.
See,
that's the blessing, being a Packer fan, right?
Yeah. That's what Jacob was talking about.
You get Kevin Harlan and John Kuhn on the TV broadcast, and we get The Rock and we get Wayne Larrivee.
You know who I get?
On the radio. You get a lot of other things.
All right. No comment. David in the chat said, with how Wilson is playing, what do you think about Auer for Lloyd to really make sure he's good to go? Like you said, Clayton hamstrings can be tricky. Again, I would much rather him be unavailable for the first 4 weeks of the season and have him for the rest of the year than to try to rush him out there week 1. Then we look up week 3. He's out for 4 weeks with a hammy. You come Christian Watson. Exactly what happened to Christian Watson. Right. So that's
great
the thing.
point.
So Omer in the chat says, can't wait to hear Matt's presser after this one. Hey, man, I didn't think about that. We need to check that out. You guys hit on something else real quick, and I'll comb through and see if I can find it.
No. The only reason I rolled my eyes is because if you guys, anybody, I think Ron or there's maybe a couple people that live near where I do. Paul Allen is the local Vikings radio announcer. He is, without a doubt, the worst, the absolute, and I mean worst. I mean, he is so bad.
It's
like
bad.
Even local, like
he's not good. He's not good.
This isn't Detroit, man. This is a Super Bowl. Remember when Favre threw that pick? I'm just telling you.
That's what everyone tells me in Minneapolis. All right, that's all I'm going to say. It was like it's so bad that the local news like will be like, "Oh, Paul had it again." You know, like it's such a joke that it's so horrible. Here we go. Tool for this. That's the guy. Pressure. I know Tool for this is near where I live. He goes, Paul Allen is terrible, but these guys were worse. And
wow,
that's
so
they were worse.
Dumpster fire. Wow,
it was bad, man.
If they're worse than that guy, holy cow!
Left a bad taste.
Paul Allen is known for he'll be like, and who was it? Adrian Peterson runs forward for a loss of 1, and that's what he would emphasize the dumbest crap in the world. And the best part of my life when I ever watched the end, it was when the Vikings played the Cardinals in a while.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
I think if I'm wrong in the chat, guys, but I think it was when the Vikings were playing the Cardinals, and whether or not the Cardinals won or the Vikings won, depending on whether or not the Packers would make the playoffs, the Vikings actually, I think it was Larry Fitzgerald, caught a pass in the corner of the end zone, and what's his freaking dumb face Paul Allen's like, there's a pass in the back of the end zone, and it's over. It's over. The Vikings lost. The Vikings lost. The Cardinals are going into the playoffs, and the Vikings lost. It's over. Our season's over.
Yeah, he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
He would cut them down to their just soul. I don't know how he has a job.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
On the ticker, Tim. I don't know how he has a job. PTA Jake.
So bad.
All right. Anything else we want to hit on here, fellas? We covered everything.
You want to talk about the Packers for a little bit?
I'd rather not. I'm just telling you.
It's just one of those nights, right, guys? You know, what are you going to do?
Hey, how about Monk at center? Let's talk about that.
I synced it.
Yeah, hit it.
I mean, I thought he looked all right. I other than, again, the first snap that fumbled. But I felt like that was more of a Clifford thing where the exchange just didn't look good.
Nova says all three of you deserve a hazard pay for this. Thanks, Nova. We appreciate that, man.
I love it.
Means a lot. Yeah, Daniel Whelan did look good, and I'm not joking. That son of a gun was booming some kicks, and his hang time.
Have we seen a moment when he hasn't looked good?
That's a great point. I can't think of one time where it's like, oh, come on, Whelan.
Right. And like I said, what he brings to the table, like, you know, he can boom it, he can hold it, and I'm willing to bet in a pinch if we need to do a little razzle dazzle, he could probably throw it. I really like him. I'm
thinking we let him snap it to himself. He holds it, and then he kicks it, dude. We just freed up 3 roster spots.
Jacob with his value basket.
No,
I'm just saying.
General,
Daniel Whelan is just sitting there at Ross,
building techniques.
$9.99 value basket. Real quick. Jeff Zilke must live in the area because that was just again to premise Paul Allen. After he goes no on air live. He literally cried. It was so good.
Yeah, Daniel Whelan, 4 punts, 219 yards, 2 touchbacks, 2 inside the 20, and a long of 59. Somebody said, it was a 60 yards. Actually, according to the box score, you may be correct there, Omer. It's showing 59, but what's a yard amongst friends, right? This right here just cracked me up. United Bates. We need to find a young fella named Joe Barry to hire as an intern with the agreement that we are going to fire him after a bad game so we can feel better. So there you go.
That brings new meaning to the one-day contract, right? The old.
All right, we got Carly joining the show now. Carly, how are you doing?
Whoa. Wait, what?
We have a black screen. We don't have Carly Ray.
All right,
She's on
we'll
standby.
we'll give her a second. Maybe she isn't ready. So, yeah, I agree. We need to hire a young intern named Joe Barry. I think she's ready now. We'll give her a second to get settled in there. We'll get her take, then we'll wrap this thing up, man. I'll tell you, 6 o'clock comes early. Carly, how you doing?
Hey, I'm all right. Sorry, my Bluetooth was getting finicky, so I forgot my earbuds in.
That's all right. What'd you think of the game? How you doing this evening?
I was really glad when Tim came in and gave his rational, unemotional side of things. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
totally
this isn't the
unemotional.
purpose of the game. Well, no, but it's true because I overall was pretty positive because I was like, wait, these are not our good players. These are not our first string. Yes, I'm a little worried about depth, but so it leads me to an actual real football question, if I may, Clayton.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you evaluate, since I mean it's such a team sport that I don't understand how you evaluate how good one player is at any particular position when all the other players around him might be screwing up? Like, wouldn't that be almost impossible?
It makes it tough. There's no doubt about it. That's why they like the joint practices so much, because they can get everybody in there that they want in there. They can get the specific down and distance situation, where they're at on the field, everything put into place to get those what they call perfect reps, right? In the preseason game, it's like shooting craps. It really is. Like it's tough because we're sitting here dogging the quarterbacks, right? Michael Pratt, 10 of 16 for 52 yards. Sean Clifford, 6 for 10, 43 yards and an interception. But the reality is they were playing behind a bunch of backups, then third stringers. There was pressure in their face pretty much all night long, So it is hard to truly evaluate them. And as a coach, I think you just got to take all that into consideration, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that, Jacob?
I agree with that 100%. I mean, we got the all 22s, right? We got, a million staffers in each position room. They're looking at every player, every snap, every angle. And yeah, you got to consider the fact that who are they going up against, right? Like we talked about that, ones against the 2s, 3s, and 4s and things like that. It's all, you got to kind of put that all in the blender and make the best decision you possibly can, I guess, right? I mean, it's tough because it is a team sport. You got 22 guys on the field banging heads on every play. It's a challenge. And that's why these staffs are constructed the way they are, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy to me is I just realized, you can't just look at it in a certain lens. To me, you'd have to look at it as if, all right, we didn't start this many players. That means that we at least give them a certain category of their quote unquote starters or guys that we see on the bubble. And then we're going to let a certain amount of players play. And we want to see how they're playing within the system. But the system that we're letting them play in is super vanilla. And we're not really letting them do exactly what we want to show them what we want to do. And then there's another aspect of just hey, fill in whatever the heck we got to fill. And so to us just sitting there on our chairs, eating the popcorns and all that and being
screaming at our televisions in our garages at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night. Yeah.
And I'm that guy. I'm so guilty, but what I like to do is self-reflect, take a moment, take a step back and say, maybe I wasn't that correct there, but it was I think there were certain things. And what also I think we should think about is maybe we just saw them not starting their starters, which obviously they didn't, but maybe they had a certain amount of positional lineups and snaps that they were watching. So maybe we're not willing to see that right now, but maybe there was they were watching Christian Welch. Maybe they were watching Cox. Maybe they were watching King. Maybe they were watching Oladapo, and they really had a specific amount of stuff dialed up for what they could do specifically for their offense/defense/special teams. We don't know that. And I saw a lot of stuff where I was like, man, that looks so vanilla. So I hope they had more of a game plan than just running through the motions, but who knows?
Yeah. I got you, man. Carly was trying to hop back on. I think she's having some issues there. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up anyway. We're at the 50-minute mark. We'll go ahead and get some parting thoughts here. It was good to get in there and get a good laugh. I do agree with the chat. Many people in the chat are saying they're worried about the offensive line depth. That has been the worry all preseason long. If you have one injury, this kind of throws a wrench in everything on the offensive line. I think that they do see Dillard as that backup left tackle. That's pretty obvious now. At right tackle, it seems like Kadeem Telford might be in the lead for the backup right tackle spot. It sounds like Sean Ryan is going to be your swing guy there on the interior from the center position to both guards. Jacob Monk might not quite be ready yet, but I think he'll probably make the roster. So the big thing is you're one injury away from having a rough go at it on offensive line, especially at the tackle position. So we'll
there's
see.
There's still a lot of time left, though. We can sign us a journeyman here in free agency. We can, make some moves, see who's out there, and try and put something together if, depth is a concern, because you're right. Guys like Jordan Morgan are definitely long-term projects, right? That's why they're brought in here, and we got to build these guys up into good pros, and it's going to take some time. So nobody panic. Everything's under control. We'll be okay. Promise.
So again, what this starting offensive line tells me is Dillard is your backup left tackle. Newman is your backup left guard. Sean Ryan is the backup center as it sits right now. I think it would probably be Sean Ryan over Newman and Monk. If he wasn't in the lineup already, he would be probably playing backup guard, the number 2 guard. And Kadeem Telford seems to be your backup right tackle as it sits right now. This one kind of caught me off guard a little bit when they brought Travis Glover in after that rotation.
Yeah,
at right tackle. So that might be the guy that makes the roster as your backup swing tackle. It might be Travis Glover. Could be.
Just so y'all know, it sounds like Matt LaFleur apparently is up there talking, and he's actually saying that
Mayor said he's calmer than expected, so that must mean he's cooler than a polar bear's toenails. So we're okay.
But also, Mr. Mikey said Matt LaFleur is talking hot piss.
Well, let's see. Wait, we got to see it.
He's talking what?
LaFleur, or is it Matt LaFleur tonight? We got to see.
I don't know. Apparently, he's live right now chatting. So,
and we'll just have to play it that way. But I don't think I think you really lose the advantage of the field position that you.
How the hell can we put a man on the moon supposedly and not have a microphone to hear the damn head coach? Can somebody please help me with this?
And better lighting, please.
We can't hear the questions either.
This must be Wildy. This one's taking a minute.
You're special.
Yeah, I thought again, I thought our defense competed much harder in the second half, and we just didn't have as many busts. There were still a couple out there early on. We had some busts, and we had some situations where we had their offense in 3rd and long and gave up big completions. So that's an area that we got to get better at. No, I don't think you can't leave him in that situation. So we got lucky, because it was close. So, but certainly you can't leave your man in that situation. But that's a good learning lesson. Evan's a young player. I think he's got a bright future in this league. He's a very smart player. But it's just one of those, and that's tough. It is a tough deal. When a guy's gets contained or breaks contain and gets out of the pocket. Certainly our pass rush has to be better in that situation to not allow, especially when we know guys are capable of moving the sticks with their legs or extending plays. Our pass rush has to be coordinated, so we can't allow a guy to get out of the pocket.
See on that when you went for it on 4th and 1 that were stopped for no gain.
Yeah, I didn't see a whole lot of movement up front. So, and credit to them. They played with, obviously, they executed better. I think everybody in the stadium probably knew we were going to try to run the ball, and we weren't able to get a half yard.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm going to pull my hair out, Tim. I just don't understand it. Y'all about to get a rant episode from me here.
Look at AFAM. I'm going to show up there one of these times holding a lamp over Coach LaFleur so we can see him. And we might not be able to hear him, but at least we could see him.
Can we
Dennis
throw
We'll answer, Clayton. We never put a man on the moon. I appreciate that, Dennis. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Jake.
No, just do you know what a freaking lapel mic is? You could they cost $13 on Amazon, shipping included.
Yeah, those are
send one.
Those are
every single one of the pressed.
The Packers can spend at least $200 or $300 on a lapel mic.
My point, Tim, is that for less than it takes me to run a Uber to Minneapolis, which is not it. God, I
Why
hate it.
on earth would you ever do that?
Respect Orange just says media is asking questions in a sizzling kitchen. They out there at the Waffle House, bro.
We're back here at a barbecue at the,
God,
BK.
so bad. So bad. All right.
God.
I'm out of here. I ain't even saying bye. Good night. All right. Matt LaPel. It's all for us. All right. Anything else you guys want to hit on here, fellas? Anything at all?
Older ladies. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I didn't hear it. What did he do, Tim?
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Am I going to have to edit?
He
Do I
earned
need to
another
edit-
Rich Bisaccia drop for sure.
Do I need to edit it or not, Tim? That's what I
No.
No.
It's
Okay.
clean. It's PG-13. It's okay.
Only you, him, and I will get it.
Anyone with an AARP will get it.
I
for sure.
completely understand. Completely understand. All right, that's it. We are. Carly, you're correct. We're off the rails. I'm in here wondering why I'm up after midnight for no reason at all, other than to hear Jacob make inappropriate jokes. So, Tim, anything? You good?
Yeah. If you're still watching, hopefully you'll see us again sometime.
Probably not. As Greg Rice says, this game was like this show. It sucked. All right.
Oh, we're going to give him some.
All right, Jacob, you got anything else?
No.
It doesn't matter anymore. All right, we're out of here. So everybody, we'll see y'all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. We will continue to talk about this dumpster fire, and I will.
Possum in a dumpster.
There you go. The schedule coming up here. It looks like no open practice tomorrow. There will be an open practice on Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Lambeau time. Then there'll be no open practice on the 21st. Then they're going to have a joint practice over there at Ray Nitschke Field. So that'd be an exciting one to go to. Tim, you going to try to make it out there for that, man?
I'm going to be there for both of them this week, hopefully. And I will be at the game on Saturday to watch a possible Super Bowl preview in the making. So should be fun.
I like it. All right. There you go. You heard it here first. You heard it from a fan. All right.
Quit putting Uncle Eric's comments up on the screen, Jacob. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get everybody in real quick before we get out of here, right?
You guys would.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. Listen, do me a favor. If you truly think this show sucks, let us know by hitting that like button. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
There you
Don't
go.
do it.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.